There we go. Am I saying no sound? There we go. I already see where this broadcast is going. That's why I had, what's her name? I was talking about Alexa. You can hear me now, I'm sure, right? Say yes. That's why Danny was saying start all over again. Are you okay to hear me now? My first guest is Jason. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Now finally. Okay, thanks. This is a great thing about live, right? You just keep going. Fortunately, your friends were out there telling you. Okay, so back up to where I said happy Monday. I was saying happy Monday, as I say every week here. Is it happy Monday? You know, there's some frustrations in the world, obviously, happening right now. I don't think anybody's happy about the lockdown that's happening here. We're in gray again. We're going to talk about that coming up a little bit later on. My first guest will be Dave Brown from the United Way, and then with his monthly update. But then Jason Winter from Bad Dog, Sarnia and Corunna, who's been advocating for fairness, will be joining. And, you know, yeah, there's going to be a lot of discussion on this one for sure. And you know, I get messages all the time. Today, and the last couple of days, I've really been getting a lot of messages on asking me what I think about it all. And, you know, I stay pretty neutral on the show and everything. But I've come from that world in the past as well, the restaurant bar world. So I can certainly understand the frustrations. I do think we'll get there. Is there some unfairness going on? I will agree with that. And I'm just going to leave it at that for now. We'll save that for the discussion coming up later with Jason Winter. But there's still lots to be happy about in our community. There's still lots of positive things. Sometimes it's just a little harder to try to look and go, where is it, right? It's getting warmer out. That's positive. So we'll get there. Happy Monday from Danny Cacciamilio. And my buddy Jesse, I was saying he's my personal human gas buddy. He works over there at Petro-Canada at London and Finch, and he says gas is 113.6. Jesse, what I was saying before I was not muted was I wonder if I could get Petro-Canada to give me like free coffee for mentioning them every week or something. Would that be fair? Or chocolate bars? I don't need chocolate bars. Gas, he says, will go up this evening most likely. Okay, that's good to know. Very good. Hello, who else we got out there? We got Ryan out there. Hello, Ryan. Miss you, buddy. There's Ash out there saying hello. Yes. Okay, good. Ron Watson is out there. Hello, Ryan. Thanks for helping me out, everybody. I probably would have done the whole show, got up to Dave Brown, and nobody told me that my mic wasn't working. I don't have a producer. I'm one individual here. So here's the numbers lately coming out, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on too, because here are the numbers as of this morning, I guess I should say. And interestingly enough, I just posted on my website, if you want to check it out while you're watching this here, an article that came out from Lambton Public Health, and Dr. Sudhit Ranade had some statements to put out there about what was happening with some local businesses and the frustrations and his side of things as well. So you can check that out. And again, that's probably something we'll be talking about coming up in a bit with our friend Jason Winter. 10 active outbreaks. I mean, there's obviously still some issues going on. I think the question often is, okay, these are numbers, but what are these numbers based on? If something's happening in a nursing home or in a school, should that affect everything else? There's your numbers. And there is, of course, lambtonpublichealth.ca, where I always suggest every week, let's just get your numbers from the right place. And I know I repeat myself. I'm so fortunate. Jennifer and I talk about it often every day about how fortunate we are that, you know, she's still working. I'm like a one-man show. I don't have any employees to worry about. And in one sense, I'm really grateful for that, because if I had a whole bunch of employees, I'd probably feel bad if I had to lay them off. And that, you know, you establish relationships with your employees, and that's certainly another tough part of it all. But again, that's something we'll be talking about coming up in a little bit. So yes, we are in gray lockdown. I don't think I have to go too far with everybody knowing that, right? I do want to throw out there one of the positive things. St. Patty's Day is still happening. It's just going to look different. If you recall last year, actually, my buddy Ryan Wursler, who's out there watching, Ryan, you and I had planned on meeting up. I think it was it might have been at Twisted Arm, I think, and then for St. Patty's Day, and then that was all taken away from us. I never thought I would see something like St. Patty's Day canceled, but there's still ways to celebrate. Call the Chef. If you haven't heard about them, they are a local meal kit provider, and their meal kits supplied with all local community providers, right? So local, supporting local and local. You can't get much more local than that. And they're going to have a St. Patty's Day special coming up there, St. Patrick's Day. You need to get your orders in before Tuesday, March the 6th at 6 p.m. And I did a video, myself and my lovely wife, Jennifer Moons. This is our third video for Call the Chef. And I don't cook. I am not a cook. I'm not allowed to cook. I burn water. True story. Ask me the story someday. But I was able to pull this off with the meal kit from Call the Chef. A little bit of guidance from Jennifer. It was her kitchen. I had to let her kind of point me in the right direction. But they're having a St. Patrick's Day special, and it's Salisbury steak and supplied by Blue Water Beef, and Great Lakes Goat Dairy is in there. And 4 beers included from Imperial City Brewhouse. It was delicious, and the food was good too. Anyway, you want to find out more about that, visit our friends online at callthechef.ca. We're happy to be collaborating with them. We're going to be doing more stuff with them coming up in the future. And I'm actually learning a little bit about cooking and stuff. Jennifer ate all 3 meals that I cooked, so it can't be that bad if Jennifer was willing to eat it. So there you go. We'll be doing some more of that. But check that out, callthechef.ca. Get your orders in for that as well. What are you doing to keep yourself busy this time around? You know, we've been going through this for a while. Is there something you're doing with the family to keep yourself occupied and stay positive out there? Let's go back to the comments here and see what else people are saying. Where's that? Oh, we got Corunna watching all the way from United Kingdom. Thank you very much. Our friend Paul Madel is out there. Now, there's a guy. Paul, if you don't mind me saying, we over the weekend before we were told we got to stay home, Paul and I had a really good conversation about what's happening with all of this. And I'll be honest, like, Paul and I don't necessarily agree on everything together, but one of the things I like was we were able to discuss it and respect each other's side of it. So, Paul, it was nice to see you and Fern and friends over the weekend, and I do always enjoy talking to you. We've been friends a long time. Judy says, "Hey David, what's going on with your Sarnia Police Northampton?" You'll have to read about it. Coming up, we'll probably have some more information in weeks to come about that. Yeah, Imperial City Brewhouse is awesome. Jesse, are you watching at work? Are you, Jesse? Like, you're not going to get in trouble for like watching the show with David Burrows instead of pumping gas for people? Well, you don't pump the gas for people. You know what I mean. Don't get yourself in trouble. It's nice to have you here, though. Yeah, right on, Paul. Absolutely, for sure. All right, and of course, Ash Marsden. I had a feeling, Ashley, you'd be watching. She's from Bad Dog Bar and Grill in Corunna. Put it up on all the big screens out there if you can. Of course. Is there anybody there? Okay, we're going to get to that. Ash has actually been here on the show before, like way last year when all this COVID thing was sort of just beginning as well. So nice to see you watching, Ash. And you're watching. The boss is in the office. We'll just tell him to come out and watch the show with us, right, everybody? Okay. So once again, go to lambtonpublichealth.ca to get all your accurate information. The city of Sarnia, as I mentioned every week, also has a special page on their website. And, you know, social distance, always, it's still a must. Wear the mask, all that stuff, right? And if you want to find out more what's happening with some of the news, like I mentioned with Dr. City Rana Day as well, you can check it out on my website there. One more thing before I get to my first guest here today. If you don't know, I also have a YouTube channel. People always say, "Oh, you're that guy on YouTube." Well, sort of. It's mostly here on Facebook, but I do have a YouTube channel as well, where I have my drone videos, I have my motorcycle cam, and some other things that I'm going to be doing out there as well that I've been putting some thought into, and I think I'm finally ready to do. So what I would like to do is get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm at about 790 right now. So go tell 100 of your friends, 100-ish of your friends to go and subscribe to my channel if you wouldn't mind helping me out. When I get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to have a big party, even if that's only virtually. Hopefully, maybe when things change, we can have some kind of a party. We'll go down to Bad Dog. We'll get all you folks and viewers to come down to Bad Dog. We'll have a party. I'm sure Jason will help us out with that. Hint, hint. And be sure to follow us along online on Facebook as well. All right. Well, my first guest is no stranger to the show, and he's always here to give us an update on what's happening with the United Way Sarnia-Lambton. Hello, Dave Brown. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thanks, David. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know me, I'm rambling a little bit. You know, with all this lockdown and stuff, it's hard for me to keep it bottled up inside sometimes, David. But
yeah, I can understand. And you know, you didn't sell, I didn't think, your YouTube channel well enough when you talked about your drone videos. There are some fantastic Sarnia area drone videos that you've done and uploaded on that site that look great.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. And I know I have seen your comments. I got my drone license last year, so of course now that's like my new hobby, and I'm always looking for new places to fly. So I appreciate you following me there. Well, how's United Way Sarnia-Lambton? Here we are back in gray. Is this going to change anything for United Way Sarnia-Lambton, or is it still just kind of the way, keep going the way you have been the last year?
Yeah, it's not going to change things in the near term. I mean, we certainly hope to be in orange or even green by fall, so we can do more barbecues and chili days and that kind of thing. But certainly in the short term, it's business as usual. Our office has been closed since January the 1st or 2nd, and we plan to stay closed until probably a week or so after we go to orange. So your viewers have a bit of a timeline as to how that's going to look. But we're all working from home right now. We're getting our letters ready. That's the first step of the campaign. We send out about 7,000 or 8,000 letters to retirees, small businesses, professionals, rural farmers, you name it. And right now we're getting about 12% of our entire campaign through the mail, which in many cases ends up being online donations. People, rather than write the check and mail in their donation, will actually go online. And we've seen about double the amount of people who gave in 2020 online than had in 2019. So that's a good trend. We're hoping that's going to continue. And of course, we're gearing up for our annual general meeting, which will be at the end of March. And as you know, any not-for-profit organization in Canada must have an annual general meeting to discuss the financial statements and approve new board of directors and that kind of thing. So that's coming up on March 31st. We're in the midst of the audit now. We don't anticipate any surprises. We know that 2020, despite the pandemic and despite the campaign challenges, our community came through again. So we look forward to getting those final numbers and presenting them first to our board and then to the community.
Yeah. Speaking of community supporters, you sent me a couple of pictures here I wanted to bring up. I've got one here, the Bagel Factory.
Yes.
What's this all about?
Well, that's one of the things that we've been really getting a lot of success with lately, and that's what I like to call cross-promotional activities. So what our friends from the Bagel Factory are doing is for the entire month of March, we're calling it March Bagel Madness, $1 from every dozen bagels sold in the month would be donated to the United Way. Very similar to what we did last year with Top Shelf Canada and the Front Street Heat, and Christo's did something for us, with pizza kits. That does two things. It really promotes local businesses, while at the same time promotes United Way as a local charity, working hand in hand to promote each other and to raise some money for the community. So, hats off to the Bagel Factory. Look for more of these kinds of activities from United Way and from local businesses going forward. We're excited about that.
It's positive to see local businesses, especially with the frustrations going on, that they're still stepping forward and making commitments to, organizations like the United Way. That's got to come across pretty good. But the old-fashioned way, Judy is out there. She says, "How can I donate other than online?"
Well, That's a good question. Online is definitely the easiest right now. Some folks will give through their workplace campaigns. That typically isn't until the fall. But some more and more employee campaigns have online systems themselves, and you can sign on and start donating at any time. Sunoco, for example, has a system now. Sunoco Cares, I think, is the name of their software program. You can log on and at any time start giving through credit card or payroll deduction or whatnot. But really, I guess we still have people who call us. And we've had a number of phone calls already in March. People wanting to donate. Maybe they've done well in the stock market. Maybe they feel that they've been better off than some other folks. Maybe people who may have lost their jobs want to support the United Way. So we've done a lot of facilitation of donations over the phone, again by credit card. I don't mind stopping by and picking up checks from mailboxes. Or whatnot. So, and of course, our phone number is 519-336-5452. And please leave a message if we're not in the office, and we'll get back to you. And I know, for example, we just 2 weeks ago emailed our form. Somebody wanted to donate stock. In fact, donated $11,000 in Scotiabank shares to the United Way.
That's interesting.
It's that's really growing. We're getting more and more people who are understanding that donating appreciated equities like stocks or mutual funds and ETFs and whatnot is a very tax efficient way of making a charitable donation, and it's great for United Way. We've got a brokerage account, and it works out really well. We're going to be putting on a YouTube video that talks about exactly the process, but it's very simple. If you went to our website, we're on the front page. You scroll down just a little bit, you'll see our stock transfer form. And so if you've got equities and if you typically would donate $100 or $500, you can donate $100 or $500 worth of some stocks that have gone up. The key, though, David, is not to sell the shares first. As soon as you sell them, then you have to pay capital gains tax. But if you donated the appreciated stocks right to the United Way using that form, then you avoid paying capital gains tax and you get a tax credit for the entire value of your shares. So really, you're saving on tax and you're getting a better tax credit at the same time.
Win-win-win.
It really is. And we've seen that just explode over the last 3 or 4 years. More and more people are realizing that. More and more financial planners. And there's some great people in Sarnia-Lambton who are recommending some of their donors do that, or some of their clients do that as part of their overall, financial plan. And so we're grateful for those financial planners to be forward thinking like that.
Well, it's nice that we talk about this again. There's a reason we have you back here every month, is we want people to understand that you're not just taking money, collecting it, and then going, okay, a little bit over here, a little over here. Like, you've got financial planners, you've got investors, you have local people on your board of directors. It's not somebody from a bigger city coming down here and telling you how to do things, right? And I think that's a really a key factor in how the United Way Sarnia-Lambton gets its success from the community.
You're absolutely right, David. United Way Canada just did a survey in late 2020, and it just revealed the results to us about 2 weeks ago. And overwhelmingly, donors in our community and all across Canada trust local charities much more so than they might national charities. They know the people who run them, they know board members that are on them, and they have a better idea as to what they're doing with the money. So as you know, with the help of the show and other local media, we've really been trying to position the United Way of Sarnia-Lambton as a local charity. And I think we've been doing a good job with that. Again, thanks to you and others, because we want people to feel good that they're not only donating, but they're donating to a local organization. Mm-hmm. And we're also starting to adjust our funding focus a little bit to really focus on some of those grassroots organizations that are local, who may not have large national infrastructures and fundraising teams and whatnot. Instead, some of the local groups that are providing the most good. And we really believe that the cost of dollars raised is much lower, and we're getting a better return on our investment.
Right. Judy, once again, she says, can I write a check monetary value? So I think the answer is yes. But Judy, I would say after the show, we'll have everything posted there as well, where you can reach out to Dave directly, and all security guidelines in place, so you'll come by right and pick it up if that's what it takes. Right?
And I know Judy and her family have been long-time supporters of the United Way. I can tell you, I worked with her father, and
Yeah, she was saying that there. There you go.
man. Yeah, great man, and her mom, and even her, I think her niece was involved in the campaign at Nova. So that family has been a long-time supporter, not only the community in the United Way. So Judy, you can contact me through Facebook Messenger, and we'll be happy to look after you.
Right on. Let's talk about what we've got up here now. We're talking about from poverty to possibility, and all that kids can be, and healthy people in strong communities. Take us through this.
Sure. As I think we talked a little bit last month, every 10 or 12 years, we take a hard look at the needs in our community, the changing demographics, and we adjust slightly what our funding focus shall be, or what we want to really set as our priorities. This year, we're seeming to be more aligned a little bit more with the United Way of Canada sort of guidelines. Before, we've done much more seniors funding and a few other things. We're starting to pivot because of COVID and because of the urgent needs that have arisen because of the pandemic. We're actually focusing a little bit more on what they do nationally. You see, poverty to possibility is going to be a big piece of what we're doing. We know that even if this pandemic were to end tomorrow, the effects on some of our most needy in our community is going to lag on for much longer. And it's also created some additional and special needs for some of those folks. So we're glad that we're going to be in a position to help. We're already getting some applications from some of our local not-for-profit organizations that address that population. They're already applying for funding, and we hope to have a funding announcement or two in the next couple of weeks on that. All that kids can be has always been a big piece of our of what we've done before. Basically, we want to make sure kids can succeed in school and supportive in their relationships. And there's a number of youth programs that we fund there. And then the other piece is the healthy people, strong communities. And in our community, we're focusing mostly on mental health, particularly addictions, fighting isolation, and suicide prevention. But we can't lose track of our seniors. And we know that Sarnia-Lambton is aging at a faster rate than provincially and nationally. But we also have a lot of seniors who are at that poverty line or slightly below, who are in real fear of becoming homeless. So if we can provide whatever supports we can to keep them there in their own homes and provide that kind of assistance for those folks, keep them healthy so that they're not in hospitals and in doctors' waiting rooms, and then that's going to increase their overall quality of life as well. So that's kind of a nutshell as to where we're going to be focusing on effective very shortly. We are in the final year of our previous funding. Right. So we're going to window that out and focus more and more onto this over the next 10 to 12 months.
I think what I've noticed about this too, that I always like to point out, is the diversity of the age group demographic here, because I think a lot of times people think United Way, and then they hear seniors programs. Am I accurate in saying that that's a perception that you're trying to change?
Hey, it can be, but when I first started back in the mid to late 1980s, the argument then was, United Way is for poor people. Only people who are poor need the United Way. So right. over that 2 or 3 decade period, we really pivoted from one end to the other. But you're absolutely right. We really are focusing on all 3 demographics. And what we're seeing now, and I imagine a lot of your viewers can appreciate this, we've got that sandwich generation where a lot of us still have kids at home or still need support, but we also have aging parents, in-laws, and our own parents that need additional help and support. So we're drawing both ways. And of course, with our workloads, we're all expected to do more with less. So it's, everybody's being drawn in those 3 areas as well. So, it's nice to know that the United Way, thanks to donors and our partners with the agencies in our community, are there to help out wherever we can.
Yeah, well, and that's the importance of the board of directors too. I think that again comes into play where they're all local. The United Way, your dollars with the Sarnia-Lambton United Way stay in Lambton County. And I know that's a question that comes up to people a lot. Where do my dollars go? all stays local. Another one of the reasons we have you here every week to make sure that everybody knows what's happening with United Way. And you said it yourself earlier, but I'll say it as well. Just having conversations here and off camera with you, you really are doing a great job, you and your team, Dave. And I always like to mention the team because I know they're a small but very powerful team that you have there with you.
They really are, and you're right. My hat's off to them. There's myself plus 4 others. Luckily, we've been there a long time. We know our jobs, and so there's not a lot of micromanaging going on. We just know what has to be done, and we're always looking for ways to be more effective and more efficient. If I can just circle back a little bit for a second, you mentioned where the dollars go. In that same survey, 4 out of 10 United Way donors aren't sure where their money goes. So these are people who already support United Way, already have faith in United Way, but they're not actually sure where they go. And I know that gets back to a comment that we had on the last time I was on. Agencies have to talk about United Way funding. They have to show our United Way logo so that their people know that, oh, my United Way donation is going here too. Oh, so it's not just, again, those pats on the back. We want every donor to know where their money is going, that every dollar has got impact.
Yeah, fantastic. And it is having an impact. Dave, I've got to move on. We're just going to have to start doing our own show, the United Way show or something. We'll take the whole hour there. But I do appreciate your time here. And any final thoughts before I let you go?
The pleasure's all mine to be on the show. It's one of the highlights of my month, quite frankly. Just at the annual general meeting, we're going to be saying goodbye to 4 board members. To be on the United Way, you can only be on the board for a maximum of 10 years. We've got 2 people who are at their 10-year clock. One person's leaving because he's actually on his second go around, and then we've got somebody who just has other interests. So we've got 4 new people coming in, and I look forward to coming back and able to talk to you about who they are and about some of our new funding announcements.
Fantastic. Dave, as always, thanks for being here. And I really hope someday you and I can get together for a coffee and lunch again.
Sounds great.
Take care. Dave Brown, Executive Director and friend from United Way Sarnia-Lambton, always giving us this time. He's here once a month to give us the updates and share the transparency of United Way Sarnia-Lambton so you know where your dollars are going. All right. Well, I have a feeling, I love my friend Dave Brown, but I have a feeling this next guest is going to be the highlight of the show here. We're going to, I think he's ready there now. Yeah. Okay. We're going to bring our friend Jason Winter. He is the owner of Bad Dog, Corunna, and Sarnia. How you doing, Jason?
Good, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I've heard that people are watching. My messenger was like, okay, what's going on? What are you going to be asking Jason today? And I'm like, well, you're just going to have to come and watch the show. Jay, you're really in a unique position right now. I know a lot of businesses are suffering. That's no secret. But when I say unique, restaurants and bars are kind of unique in all of this because of the restrictions that have been put on. And I know, just to lead into all of this, okay, so we've seen, and it's no secret, Sharky's decided that they wanted to stay open. Some other local businesses have said, screw this, basically, we're staying open. But the uniqueness about the restaurants and the bars is you don't necessarily want to take that risk because it's more than a fine. It could affect your liquor license, which is really a big part of your survival. Am I accurate in that?
That's correct. So any research we did looking into it, definitely on top of the fines, there's a liquor license aspect. Again, it's hard to find really anything where this has happened in other towns to find like exactly what they did get charged with it, but it definitely looks like that's on the table. And AGCO is actually who is mandating going through these laws, and they're the ones enforcing. So definitely it's a good assumption to assume that there could be some kind of liquor license violation.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a risk anyway, but that's just kind of an extra risk, I think, right? So
Right.
let's back up here. I mean, okay, COVID's been around, blah, blah, blah. We all know those details. We've been in and out, and people were patient for a long time. I think we give credit to people for being patient. But is this the enough is enough stage?
I think the sentiment really changed from the first phase. I think, I mean, clearly we're all on Facebook. Everyone gets that. The first phase, no one knew what was going on in March. Well, we were like the first to close down. Everyone was on board. I think that definitely The sentiment was there. Okay, everyone's confused. Give the government their due. They're trying their best. They're scrambling. No one knew what was going on. So we kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt that what they were saying was accurate. The measures we were taking were accurate, and we kind of moved forward. I think now coming, to a year later, I think now we're at the other point where when they're making these kind of sanctions they're making, I think people really need to see more information and data. And again, data that they now have. They've done contact tracing. They know all this stuff now. It's the time now where I think the goodwill has kind of disappeared. We've done our duty. We've done our masking. We've done our social distancing, our enhanced cleaning. We're happy to live by all these safety measures, and they're important. But at the same time, when you're making these huge economic sanctions to small business, I think this is the point where they have to at least show the documentation where these are coming from.
So, and just to be clear to everybody, like, you're not against like protection and following guidelines. You're just really trying to say, wait a minute, this isn't adding up and making sense for a lot of businesses. Why are the big box guys allowed to have X number of people in line and I can't? And you heard me mention earlier, our friend Paul Madel, I was talking to him over the weekend. We were out in a local establishment downtown, and we were talking like, okay, well, even here they should be able to get more than 10 people. And then if you go to Bad Dog, which is larger, or let's talk about even larger, like a Twisted Arm, Big Fish has like five rooms out there, and you're still only allowed 10 people. How is the government justifying this to you, the bar restaurant owner? Or are they?
So that's the inconsistency. And again, that's what we're asking for. So we're saying, you've made this measuring stick, you've made this meter stick, as I keep saying. Your meter stick right now is cases. That's all they're going by. So, and again, I'm not going to talk about personal beliefs today, just from the restaurant side. We're accepting your meter stick. You're saying the meter stick is you want to stop cases. Okay, so if that's your meter stick, then at this point, you need to say, if we're making these kind of huge, impactful decisions, where are these cases being transmitted? So if that's the case, and again, of the hundreds of cases that have happened in the last couple of weeks in Sarnia, we'll then say where these cases, if it came from, without giving away people's privacy. You don't have to do that. You can say by group works, the divisions, from construction, from institutional. So show us then that, okay, if we're making, the only one that's being impacted by this is small business. So that being the case, I would expect to see that a large portion of those cases are coming from small business, which we all know at this point is not happening. And that's who's being affected by the framework. The framework is not adjusting for this other 90% of institutional to schools. And there's no change in the framework when then we go to an orange or red to gray there.
Right.
So the framework was made back in the first summer they're coming in, where they had maybe not as much data. They have far more data now. And that's what we're asking to see then. If this is the case, let's see, tell us how many cases. And I mean, when I say being transmitted in a restaurant, how many people are at risk when they come in and they sit at a table with their group of four, a server comes over, how many people are transmitted? Not like an employee, how many people are being transmitted? We have had over, to our best of guess, over 50,000 people through our doors from June to December with 0 calls from Lambton Health, which again, the assumption is if nothing's been transmitted and nothing, they have traced nothing to us. There's been 0 cases transmitted through 2 restaurants, which is, and I'm hearing similar stories from all the restaurants we've all been in contact, very similar stories. So again, then show us the data, like at this percentage of the 20, I think 2,400 cases we're at, tell us how many of those cases were transmitted in an actual restaurant, so you can at least explain to us why our capacity is being so diminished and taken away.
Yeah. Seems logical to me, right? Where is the logic in all of this, I guess, is probably the question. And that's kind of what you're saying. Okay, no problem. We'll listen to you, but show us. So if that's not happening, you've been advocating, you've been talking to other local restaurateurs, bar owners, etc. Are you getting any response from government? I've seen you've reached out to Bob Bailey and Marilyn Gladue and our provincial government. Any response?
I have sent emails. I sent an original email asking for the data, and a second email that was signed by 18 restaurants, again asking for a revision to the framework. We just want to see this framework being fairly revised with safe operations. I've received a call from Bob Bailey a week and a half with my first thing for data. No answers, just more like, sorry about small business, but in the end, no answers or a way of moving forward to revising the framework. A form letter from Doug Ford, not even a thing from an assistant or anything to call or an email back. Nothing from Marilyn Gladue, and nothing from the Lambton health officer, Dr. Ranaday.
Right. Speaking of Dr. Ranaday, did you get a chance to read the article that he had just put out there, Lambton Public Health?
Actually, I just saw it posted on. I just seen it there before I came on here with you. So I actually quickly saw someone posted on Facebook. Again, I am not here to attest to these guys' knowledge. Clearly, they have far more medical knowledge than me. I would strongly object to the fact that one of the things in there saying that people are walking from table to table. This is part of this, but that doesn't happen. That is not happening. And again, this is the confusion that I think the whole Ontario government, not just the whole Ontario, has really confused and scared people by this whole with changing us with restaurant bars and nightclubs and strip bars all just lumped together. And again, not to diminish their businesses, but a family restaurant operates far different than a strip bar in Toronto. The social interaction is clearly far different. So when you're coming to the Bad Dog on a Saturday night, people are sitting at fours at their table. It's generally 90% of the time a family, or you might at best have two couples. But you don't have, I never see people getting up, jumping. They don't do that. People are 99% going by the rules, coming in, wearing their mask when they go to the washrooms. Our tables are distanced. We measure a table in the morning. All the proper measures have been taken, and they're clearly working. They're clearly working because, again, I've asked for the data, and no cases are coming out of these restaurants. So all we're asking for is, again, we're fine with continuing with we measure our tables every day. Fine with all that. They need to, at this point, give a capacity-based answer to all these restaurants, as opposed to, to being shut down. We can operate safely, and again, what I believe to be zero cases or unbelievably minimal, if any. And again, I'd love to see the data. I'm really asking to see that data because I don't believe that is happening in family restaurants. Again, I don't want to speak to a strip bar or a karaoke bar in Toronto, a totally different game than us. So again, it gets lumped into that, which.
Yeah. And I could attest to that. I mean, it was even up in last year when I came into Bad Dog Sarnia one time, and the staff were very diligent about, please just wait a minute. Let me get the table cleaned for you. Please wear your mask. All that stuff, the staff have adapted well. And I would say most places have done that. There's always going to be some that maybe aren't as following guidelines as others, for sure. But that's
absolutely
not everybody follows the street signs either, right? But
that's right.
That
was happening long before this.
Yeah, right. So what kind of things moving forward from here? What do people, we see support local, eat local, we see all the local campaigns, etc. But what can people really do to support you and the rest of your restaurant family, if you will, to help get some answers? Are there things people watching can do?
For sure. Email those people I said above. Email your Bob Baileys, your Doug Ford, and ask them. Say, you've made this presentation. You're restricting us from entering restaurants right now. Can you please be polite? Like, all my letters are diligent, polite. There's no point yelling, screaming. They all have tough jobs. We get it. I'm not asking people to go on rants because that's not going to help. But ask, as a citizen, just ask. You're making these restrictions to our gyms, to our hair salons, to our restaurants. We'd like to know in the last 2,400 cases in Lambton County, how many were transmitted in those places, and ask for the answer. So we can see that at least then, okay, those are the main places that are being hit. But if there's a small to fraction point that's not fair, that every other industry is still moving on through gray and red, and these other places aren't.
Yeah. Any predictions on how long you think you might see us here in this gray? Are we 2 weeks? Are we a month? Or what are you thinking?
Oh my God, I'm completely done predicting anything in COVID.
Question of the day, I guess, right?
Yeah, completely done. I just think at this point, I mean, I heard some news today. They were saying they're expecting to be vaccinating 2,000 people a day in Sarnia by the end of March early. One of the Lambton Health people were on saying that, which is great. So I think they need to just they have to scrap the framework, give it whatever it is, a 25% capacity, a safe operating procedures from here till June, get us the next 2 to 3 months. We're happy to live by those and just do a safe ride here into what we are hoping is the warmer weather, more vaccinations, and hopefully the end and the final road to the end of this. So, right. I mean, there's probably not a lot of time left, but it's as you see that one restaurant already just announced their closure yesterday. There's thousands of jobs, hours, people's lives. Like there's so many people's lives that are being affected for, again, what are you saving? Maybe 1 or 2 cases a month, and I'm doubtful of that, to be honest, are coming. That would be on your best of time, but what you're doing to those 3 industries. And again, I'd love to see the data. I'm hoping to see that data because I'd really like to know that there's something more to it than that. But again, from talking to places, myself knowing the amount of people have had through with safe procedures, it's just not, I don't believe it's coming out of restaurants. And I believe you're safe to eat at all these places.
You you talk about employees and how, I know you've got a fantastic staff, both locations. They're just always so good at their jobs. How are they doing through all of this though? They've got to be super frustrated too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every time this has happened from when we went to Orange to every lockdown, I mean, there's legitimate tears. I mean, there's people, these are their livelihoods. This is their lives. So this is, again, I mean, and from week to week, I mean, how do you plan to get a job and get a mortgage on a house when you don't know within 2 weeks, a week that you can just be losing that job you just got? How do you know what bills to pay? It's very frustrating to these people, to everyone. I mean, again, I said, like whether you're a hairstylist or a cook at a restaurant or, a trainer at a gym, these people have lives. And again, I can't reiterate enough that all the people I've talked to, even seeing what Sharky's put on there was great. I mean, they want to operate within safe parameters. That is not the discussion. Discussion is the unfairness that we're the only small business that are, again, like I don't, and even I've said that, like you said, the comparison with Walmart. And I have zero fear of going to Walmart. No one's going to get there either. But that's the inconsistency is walking in a Walmart aisle and there's 18 people in an aisle, 20 people in an aisle that's 300 to the size of a bedroom, but our restaurant's 2,500 square feet and you could have 10 people. That's what people are frustrated about. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing. And, again, I support these guys and I understand their frustration of staying open because it is very frustrating. And again, at this point, we've asked for this super nicely. We've, I put my letters through. I think they just need to provide the data so that if you're going to impact this many people's lives, you need at this point to show us why. Yeah.
I don't think there's too many are going to disagree with that statement. We just want to see the facts, right? Through all of, continuing this right now, Bad Dog, Corunna, and Sarnia still open for takeout though?
Yeah, absolutely. So we open every day. So we keep ourselves open the day too. Again, to just keep some more shifts and keep some more people working. Generally the lunch, like you see lots of restaurants closing the day because there's just not much the takeout to be there. But we're trying our best to keep as much people as we can working. So we stay open 7 days a week through the day. And we're doing our best. And legitimately, Lambton County, Sarnia, like Corunna, people have the takeout. I mean, and all restaurateurs will tell you this. The takeout's been awesome. They're really trying their best. They know the struggles. And we all thank them for that. That's amazing. Like, and it's definitely, the thing is though, that the takeout model is just keeping places floating. Right. It's paying bills, and in some places it's not even doing that. Some places it's not even doing that. But on your best of days, it's keeping you floating. And who wants to? No one out there that's watching this wants to work 60 hours, 50 hours a week to break even. And that's, again, the frustration, right? It's, and again, this is, we're not taking away from the meter stick. If that's your meter stick and that you want to reduce cases, then, this is the time to provide the data and show how this is that by impacting these businesses is reducing cases.
100%. I thank you for your time here today. And I know so many appreciate, your what you're advocating for. and hope that you get through all of this. We've known each other a long time, Jason, and it's nice to see you
Yeah,
stepping forward and speaking up. And boy, that's a whole other show. We could talk about stories there, but
just old stories,
that's right.
old nightclub stories, old bar stories. There's a lot.
Oh
There's
boy,
definitely a lot of folklore out there.
man,
So, but
I
yeah,
could
like I
start
said
a new
again,
show on
go
that.
back. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I do go back to, please, if you email these people, please be kind. Where everyone's angry, everyone's stressed. If you're emailing, the Doug Fords, and we're all upset, but please keep your emails factual, and there's no point in screaming these people. Everyone's, again, for lack of whatever, I know where some of us, like myself, are unhappy decisions they're making, but the same way, keep it cordial. There's no point in barraging these people with swearing and other stuff and anger. It's we just want answers, and hopefully they could come together and revise this framework and make it fair to all the small business.
Very good. Jason, hugs to you and your family, my friend. Any final words before I let you get back to your day?
No, that's great. Thanks for the opportunity. Again, we like to talk about this, and I want to keep, again, explain to people how safe it is, and we want them to know that, and we'll continue to do our best to keep things safe, and hopefully we can get through this.
Very good. Jason, take care, my friend.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Jason Winter, owner of Bad Dog, Corunna and Sarnia. And like you said, reach out. Keep it polite, folks. We're frustrated. There's anger in there. There's a lot of emotion going on, but keep it nice, and let's hopefully get some response. A lot of good points in there. You heard me say at the beginning, right? Because of a bar restaurant having a liquor license, there's a little more risk involved at times too. Because if you lose that liquor license, that's really the end of it, right? The takeout is keeping most afloat, right? But that's about it. So take the time, as Jason Winter suggested, and contact your governments, your Bob Bailey's, your Maryland's, your provincial, all that, right? Easy to find online, and keep it nice as well. What are your thoughts on all of this? Do you think that people are being fair, or is this not fair? I think most would. Jason makes very good, strong points. I agree with them. I'll just say, and I was saying, I was out the other day with my friend Paul, and we were talking about how come there's only 10 here. This is small, but great big place over there. How come certain industry? It just doesn't seem to make sense at all. The framework is not adding up by the numbers, and why is it that way? And if you're asking for the facts, why can't we see the facts? Anyway, great interview with Jason Winter. Appreciate him being here. And of course, reach out to Bad Dog, Corunna, and Sarnia. Ash says, order lunch, right? It's almost supper time for me, Ash. I might be ordering supper pretty soon. Certainly support all your local restaurants that you can, and support local as much as you can in these times. And I'll be curious to see what kind of response we get from the government. Well, maybe have to have some other folks on here to talk about this more. Stay positive and safe through all of this, though. I guess it's tough, but that's really the best choice in all of this. I want to say thanks again to Jason Winter. Also say thank you to my friend Dave Brown, who joined me here earlier. All right, just before we go, I want to let you know, if you haven't heard of the 999th Legion for Child Rights, Sarnia chapter, which I am proud to be a part of. We did an interview last month about what the 999th Legion for Child Rights is all about. And we're going to be doing another one. St. Paddy's Day in the evening. St. Paddy's Day. You're going to be able to watch. We're going to be talking more about some things that the 999th Legion is going to be doing. We are a group that supports children's rights. We also happen to ride motorcycles. So we'll be talking about that in a special event that is hopefully going to be coming up. Will be happening in one way, shape, or form coming up in April. So watch for that coming up. And again, very proud to be a part of that group as well. And motorcycles are on the road. I've already been out a couple of times, and it's going to get warmer. So keep an eye out for those motorcycles on the road. Drive aware and ride aware. And I want to say thank you to all of my supporters here at Philly Cheese Jakes, Active Ears Hearing Center, Hughes Intelligence Security Specialists, Huron Signs, SWO, and AG Event Graphics, who just made me a brand new podium that I've been waiting for, but now hopefully I can get out and use it in the community soon. Joe's Discount Tire, and my friends at Oswald's Diner. Oswalds.com is where you can, and don't forget our friends Bad Dog, a special mention to them as well. And of course, thanks to all of you. I couldn't do this without you, and I really do appreciate you all being here and giving me something to do every Monday afternoon. That's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show. Stay safe. Bye for now.